What if I told you this was the last Monday morning of your life? What if I told you you died this week? Would you complain about your crap job or that test you don't want to take? I doubt it. You would go much higher level thinking. Well, that's really what it takes. It takes understanding that if you're not pumped right now, if you're begrudging what you're about to do, if you're not looking forward to it, look, I respect practicality. You gotta go through school because your parents want to. You gotta pay your rent. You got student loans, I get it. But please recognize the world we're living in. We're living in a world where there's so much more opportunity. This internet thing created way more opportunity for all of us, way more. I mean, look, you might not even be alive. Like, your mom and dad could have had sex like 3 minutes later and you wouldn't even exist, and you're complaining. You could have ended up being a bus, a tree. I just don't get the mentality of being head down sad on a Monday morning. I'm gonna make Monday morning my bitch. I'm gonna make you Saturday Monday morning. That's what I wanna do every morning, and that's what I want from you. Please, take a step back and think about how awesome it actually is. And then recognize that you can attack the world in a totally different way because you were lucky enough to be born during this era. Fuck you, Monday.
So I had to reflect back to last year, reflect back to the year before, reflect back to last month to make sure I felt good about this month and accepted the results. Ultimately, you decide if you're gonna live or not. Am I just gonna get through life or am I gonna live? Because it's a fucking choice. I mean, you literally decide that. And some people decide it when they're 70 and it's too late. Building update, that fucker moving. Today they're doing EFIS. If you don't know what EFIS is, it's plaster. If you don't know what plaster is, it's stucco. They're doing stucco already. The biggest hang-ups could be garage doors. They don't come in until the end of the month because we needed all black ones, which don't exist.
What, the end of which one?
Any other questions on the building? I told them to start working on engineering drawings for an expansion of another 20,000 square feet. I even asked, we're getting a new color copier printer for Dream Home. I said, what if somebody tries to ride it down a hill and it breaks? Is that covered? And he just stared at me like there's something wrong with me. I said, I'm serious. He goes, well, even if you sit on it, and I pictured Brad sitting on it, taking a photocopy of his balls and break the glass. We are responsible for those costs. So leave the fucking copier alone.
On to the Lambo update.
Look on the table. Oh, there's the paperwork. They're fast when they want your money. So once I sign this, we will own a 2012 Aventador 700-4 all-wheel drive Lamborghini with Lamborghini doors. I cannot change. Yeah, they're all Aventadors because they're supposed to drive like shit. The Huracans drive like a Corvette and everybody says they're fucking lame. You might as well just go buy an old man Corvette. That's what the internet says. They've never been a... But what I wanted to share today is it's super important to reflect back. And when I was sitting up in my deer stand and I wanted to murder about 11 people on Friday because nobody was working and Rainey was still sleeping and I had been up since 5, so it felt like half the day was over, but it was really 8:30. And I'd been sitting in a tree by myself for 3 hours, which makes me want to stab myself in the face. So I'm sitting there thinking, I'm getting all wound up, and then I just reflected back to what was last year like and what was the year before that like and how far we have come and the fact that so many more people are involved, but we're still doing even better. Because usually when you get more people, more hands in the pot, it's more of a clusterfuck. And it's actually the opposite because we had really good plans. We've been thinking about this. You guys probably did the campaign packet, I hope you did. But you were seeing me, what, 2 months beforehand to set the percentages and stuff like that and already start the graphic ads. And you know, that's a huge jump forward for us as a company. And the point of today is, I kind of just said you have to glance back to see forward. So you've got to always, I don't want you guys to ever dwell on the past, and I never dwell on the past. And I never say, we're not doing very good, but we did really bad last year, and then sit and think about how much it sucked last year and then drive myself into a deep depression and then come out and say, whatever, I'm just gonna go home for the day and take some, whatever, happy drugs or something. The point was, It's really, 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 really important to reflect back. You've always got to think about, you know, how did it go and what can I do next time? So you guys did kind of we call it a post-mortem. It's after somebody dies, you figure out the cause of death. It's after you do something, you look back and say, what went super well? What didn't go super well? What should we do better next time? And what should we implement right now for the next round? So we just finished Black Friday, Cyber Monday. I would expect we won't fall for the same tricks for Christmas because we improved our standard. Now we're gonna do it that much better when we repeat and rinse. Rinse and repeat, repeat, rinse. Does that make sense? So that applies to everything. It's super important to always look backwards and think about what could I have done different and not sit and dwell on that, but do it different the next opportunity you have at it. Cool? I just wanted to get to that because if you remember last week we talked about planning. You have to reflect in order to be good at planning, otherwise you're just making shit up. And that's why a lot of times I'll say, what were the numbers? You guys can't even imagine how many times a day I look back at last year's numbers when shit's red. Because I just keep asking myself, was it supposed to do this? And I look back a year or two and I say, yeah, it was supposed to do this, or no, so what should I watch for? So last year, November was one of our big months. But I look back and October wasn't. October sucked balls. That's when I went into eye twitch. John, I was last fucking eye starts twitching and I think we're gonna have to sell the place. That was October last year. This year it was November. This year our October was like $1 million. So I told Emily, and I didn't tell you guys because I didn't want you to give up on me, that if we only hit $1 million this month, I'm still gonna do bonuses and award stars because we hit $1 million last month when we were supposed to only hit. So my mentality was I was gonna carry the from last month into this month and still say, we still fucking crushed it. It just so happens the calendar didn't work out for us. Does that make sense? So I had to reflect back to last year, reflect back to the year before, reflect back to last month to make sure I felt good about this month and accepted the results. But then we gave it a big push, blew all the fucking numbers out of the water anyways, so it's a no-brainer that we're gonna get stars and bonuses this month. Does anybody have questions on that? I feel like you guys should have questions. It should be a learning versus a lecture.
Stupid idiot.
You know, reflect back on how stupid that was? What I would challenge him to do is reflect back and see who was right. Because if he was right, he should do the same thing next year. Give him a sense of urgency and then surprise him with an extension. If it totally fails, he should start listening to me every time. Right, Kirk? If Kirk has a bunch of misships, he's gonna say, I should have listened to Sean who told him to get Eric some help. If he ends up pounding out all these packages and Eric ends up taco of the week 2 weeks in a row, he's gonna say, see, that's why I don't fucking listen to you.
Better enjoy those tacos this week, buddy.
You won't even get tacos next week if your misships go up.
No, we'll see. We will see.
Cool, that's reflection.
You gonna sign that later?
Okay, I'm getting as scared as the first time now. I feel like somebody should talk me out of this. Hey man. Thought that was the miles. It's the zip code, thank God.
Oh, an extra 2,000 miles on it?
Yeah, that'd have been a lot. So I told them at 5 p.m. last night that I would like to buy the car. It is 10 o'clock a.m. the following morning. They already got me all the paperwork to sign to get back to them. Overnighted, so they have it by tomorrow morning, and we own it by then.
Get this done before the weekend.
Which is nuts. This happened last time and it blew our frickin' minds. Dealer's reassignment of title, power of attorney. You wanna be in my will folder? The car's so expensive it has its own power of attorney. Transfer name and signature, odometer, state of Texas, power of attorney, transfer of ownership of a motor vehicle. God, I got a lot of work to do.